Major Antone Aguon, who's standing by. It looks like you're in New Orleans. Major Aguon, of course, Department of Corrections. Good morning, Major.
Good morning. Good morning, Chris. Great.
Morning.
Let's just go ahead and start with an update. As I saw over the weekend that you guys had some more positives at the Mangilao prison compound. So what can you tell us about that, Major?
Yeah, we had a few females develop some symptoms, so they were tested and the results came back positive. I believe that was about 4 females, if I'm not mistaken, and so our positive count is, I mean, it's down overall, but we're still at 14 positive prisoners, and 2 of them are at GMH.
Do you know the condition of those two prisoners at GMH?
No, no.
So, Anton, that's 4 women and 1 officer for a total of 5.
Yeah, so our count right now, as of this morning, was we still have 7 officers that are in quarantine. 20 officers are positive. 20 employees, 19 officers and 1 civilian. And we have 14 positive prisoners. Overall, we've had a total of 171 positives. 155 of them are being cleared, and 2 were released from custody early.
Major, I mean, outside of Corrections Officer Martinez, we've seen a couple hospitalizations relative to the DOC coronavirus outbreak. That being said, are most of the cases asymptomatic or low to mild symptoms?
Is this regards to the officers?
Yeah, just generally speaking.
Most of the symptoms in the prison are minor. Their symptoms are not that bad. And the ones that did start experiencing some difficulty breathing, they were transported to GMH. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of them might be in ICU right now, and the other one is just on one of the regular treatment floors. We do have 2 officers that are still in the hospital. I believe last week they were in ICU, but they are now out and recovering, and they're hopefully they'll be discharged soon. They're getting better.
Major, can you tell us how many inmates or detainees are in the prison infirmary?
No, we don't have any in the clinic. We don't have any prisoners in there for COVID. I believe there might be 1 person confined in there, but it's not related to COVID. It's a regular health issue.
I see.
But none of any inmate for the COVID, except when they require medical attention, they are taken to GMH.
I see.
Any progress on the tent or the renovations to the dome?
Yes. So last week we had one of the vendors come in and do a walkthrough site visit, right, to start working on developing the work that needs to be done. The renovations for the dome, that project has been awarded to a local vendor. They will be coming in here, I believe, later this week to start doing their walkthrough and preparing to move forward with that project. So we're moving forward. We're moving forward.
So Public Works isn't doing the work on the dome; it's a private contractor.
Public Works, DPW is the main. They are the ones that coordinated the contract and handled all the logistics and preparing that. But it was awarded to a local vendor that will actually do the physical work during the aircon, and then there's some plumbing, electrical work needs to be upgraded, and then the restrooms. I'm sorry, if you don't think about the domes, in front of the domes, the restroom are made up of containers, 20-foot containers. that were retrofitted for restrooms. And over the years, of course, those containers rot out and corrosion and others, so they have to be replaced. I believe, correct, a lot of it will be torn out and replaced with other forms of shower and restroom.
Has the Department of Corrections released any nonviolent detainees or inmates that are nearing their fulfilling their sentence to help ease the population there?
No, DOC releasing it? No. I mean, we release people every day, but that's due to court orders or they've completed their sentence. But we've not released anybody outside that normal avenue of being court order release or completing their sentence.
The reason why I asked is because Joe Carbolito, the director, was mentioning there's a list that they've turned over to, I guess, the front office. And whoever else needs to do the legal review to have them released early as a result of, the COVID positives over at DOC. So I was just following up to see if anybody has since been released.
Yes. Yes, Sabrina, we did our casework division put up a list, and this is regarding inmates, people that are sentenced. So our case put together a list on certain criteria. It was given to the governor's office. There was a meeting last week, a Zoom meeting with the director and the governor's legal team, going over some of those criteria, and they've requested additional information from the department in regards to some of their charges and some other concerns they had. They just want to look at it more thoroughly, and so I believe the caseworkers are supposed to provide that report sometime later this week by Wednesday with the more detailed information that the governor's office was looking for. So that should be done by this week. Now, where it goes from there, again, we'll see how it goes after that.
How many are on that list?
Sabrina, if I recall, there weren't that many. I mean, maybe 20 something, if I can recall correctly. And these are ones that are, their sentence is almost up, or they have some serious medical issues, or they are being held by, they have an immigration detainer. So what that means is if they do get released, they will be held by immigration and possibly deported.
Is this the early release of these inmates? Is that a decision that the governor has the power to do, or does it have to go to court?
Well, the governor does have the authority to commute their sentence, like what happened on the previous administration. The governor can commute their sentence, and especially for the immigration, that's how we used it. That's how it was used last administration. When those that were vetted and it was determined they had an immigration detainer and they were going to be deported, the governor would commute their sentence, and then they would be turned over to immigration. Basically, they just change the status, and then immigration will start working on their processing for deportation. And usually, within 30 days, they'd be deported out to Guam.
All right, anybody on this list, Major? If we see who's on the list, is it going to raise any red flags, or people are going to flip out? We're not releasing any murderers or anything, right?
I haven't seen the list personally, but no, I don't believe those are the criteria at this point.
Okay. What about?
Again, it's a small list, very small list.
What about any? I know when we talked to you, we've also talked to Joe about test machines over at DOC, rapid test machines. Is there any progress on that, or even the possibility that DOC may get these Binax Now test cards?
Yes, that is still ongoing. Looks like we're getting closer and closer to that, to having a testing capability in DOC. Hopefully in the next week or two, because one thing we have to do is we have to have a certification. We have to also have some sort of certification. I think they're trying to get the certification waived or processed so that we can get a machine. But in the meantime, what we started doing this past weekend on the 5th, the director in working with GPD and the other law enforcement agencies, every new arrestee now will be tested prior to entering DOC. They may not be tested at DOC, but during normal work hours, it'll be done at GMH. So every time someone is picked up or even going to be brought in, the marshals, a warrant or anything like that, they would have to be taken to GMH to get tested. And then after hours, it'll be done at the, I think they're calling it the QFAC, or over at Outriggers, that area down there. They'll be tested prior to being brought to our facility.
Um, so we're gonna bring arrestees over to the Dusitani, where people that are arriving on flights to Guam.
Well, I'm not
going
sure
as
where
well?
they're testing. Yeah, I'm not sure where the testing is being conducted at, but that will be after hours. They are working on another arrangement for after hours to be done at GRMC,
Mm-hmm.
but that is still in they're still working out the fine details on that one.
I see. But you mentioned the Abbott ID and certification for the Abbott ID test. But what about the Binax Now, those antigen tests that take 15 minutes to get results? And I watched the tutorial video, and there was no machine. It's just you put some drops in this little card thing, do a little swab on both your nostrils, and wait for 15 minutes.
I know they talked about it, and that's also what they're looking at this time. But again, public health I guess they're still working on some details on that,
Mm-hmm.
because we would also need to train our staff to probably do it after hours, especially in Agania, after 7 p.m. we don't have any nurses on duty, so we would also have to train the staff to do that, and work out some other logistical things with that. But we're getting there. We're working on it, and public health and has been working with the director to get this process going as soon as possible. It's something the director's been pushing for months to be able to have that capability within our prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm confident in the next few weeks we're going to have something to show for it.
Mm-hmm. Those 4 female inmates that tested positive, were they new admissions or were they at DOC serving time for quite a while?
I believe one of them was a new admission, and the other ones were already confined there.
Is there any reason to believe that new admission brought COVID into DOC?
I cannot confirm that, but it's a highly possible. But I cannot really go out and say for sure, because I'm not the one responsible for doing the contact tracing.
Mm.
And so it's possible that that's how it got back in.
Mm-hmm. Was that female inmate tested before she went in to the DOC?
Yes, we had the females tested before, and eventually all of them cleared. There were a few that tested positive, and then eventually they were all cleared. And so, again, down the road, a few of them started developing symptoms, and again, we just went in and retested, did a second test on some of them, and then they came back positive.
Mm-hmm. So this woman that was in there, was she retested as part of the first round of the women that were tested before, or was she new and this was her first test?
I believe one of them was new, and the other ones were already confined there.
I see. Okay.
What about the incoming, Major? Where are we with the incoming? Man, I get so many calls from people at the prison, family, friends, just frustrated about the lack of the incoming service. And guys, if you're listening, incoming is where the families, relatives of inmates and detainees can give them approved items and drop them off at the prison. Those items are then passed out to the respective inmates or detainees.
Yes, so our visitation staff have developed a policy, did a operations plan for it, Sergeant Donato, and he forwarded it up to the operations commander, Major Aguon, who has the plan, is reviewing it, and then from there it'll go to the warden for his concurrence, and hopefully by the middle of this week we'll have something finalized on it.
Okay. Just real quickly again, Antone, you said this female Was she an inmate or was she a detainee?
Detainee.
Detainee. Okay. And so she was new. The testing was on Friday. When was she detained in the women's unit?
Sabrina, I don't have all that particulars on her confinement history. I know she was just recent, but I haven't looked at the our database to really narrow down when she came in and when she was tested positive. I just know that we got a message from our medical staff that they tested, that they were going to be public health was going to come in and do some testing because of some symptoms, and then the next message we got were, about 4 of them were positive. So I don't know all the other specifics as far as I don't even know their names. I don't even know the names. I don't even know the names of them. They haven't released the names to me. I'm pretty sure I can find out, but I haven't had the chance to look at that.
Right. I mean, it just kind of brings to light even, just the importance of DOC having the ability, right, to do this rapid testing, like you have been talking about for a couple months now. I did want to follow up on, is DOC in line for the vaccination distribution as frontline workers?
I'm not aware of that right now.
Okay, so you guys haven't been surveyed or anything like that as to whether or not personnel there would take a vaccine?
Not that I'm aware about at this time. I mean, there may have been some talk behind the scenes, but I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Antone, before we let you go, I'm going to play that song that you had sent me that was performed for deceased corrections officer Glenn Martinez. But could you tell us a little bit more about it before we play this video, Antone?
About the officer that sang the song?
And just give us some info.
Well, the officer that sang the song dedicated to Officer Glenn Martinez is detention leader Jess Kirichai. And he's been with the department probably 29 years. 29 years. And so, he sings on his spare time. And so the loss of Glenn has really hit some of them harder than others, especially those that's, closer to him and worked with him a lot longer. So, his way of just dealing with it was to sing a song. And so he sang that, and then it was sent to our group chat within DOC. And so I asked the officer if I could share it with others, especially for the family, and he agreed. So, that's why I shared it with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we're about to play it. Is there anything else you want to add before we play it, and then we'll go ahead and let you go?
No, it's just that we are, obviously our numbers have gone down because we're, doing our best to keep that thing, from spreading. We're working on several projects, and it just takes time for the process to get done, to get everything in place. And then with the incoming, we're going to have the incoming. It's going to happen just as soon as things are, the plan is approved, and, then we'll execute that plan. And so we just ask to be patient, and, we're doing our best to protect the inmates and the officers. And, even the officer's family, because when the officer gets sick, he gets to their family. So, we're trying to protect all of them as best we can. So we may seem a little hard at times and strict on certain things, but it's not done to be mean to anybody. We're just trying to ensure the safety of everyone here. Because we need to protect everybody as best we can.
Right.
And again, this is detention leader Jesse Kirichai, a 30-year veteran of the Department of Corrections, performing this song for deceased corrections officer Glenn Martinez. Antone, thank you for this, and thank you for your time this morning.
Stay safe.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Okay. Well, here we go. This is in tribute to fallen corrections officer Glenn Martinez, performed again by Jesse G. Kirichai.
Buenas and off a day. This song is for my buddy Glenn Martinez, who passed away in November 2020. Unsung hero due to COVID-19. It's also coming from JJ Meno, AF Calvo, JJ Ruma, and Joey Uggan. PJ Cruz also are all together in this one unit per se. and we lost him. So, in tribute, we'll never forget you, my brother. This is for you, from JG and the crew. Adios, amigo. Si Jesus maasi, ano dyan, undis konset silu. Estão cumprindo. It's a moon. We need hilutanu. An man tiempo, Glenn Martinez concedí. Tiempo, Glenn Martinez concedí. E família com todo o equipamento, mga hinalan, iba infan malefano. Adios, Glenn Martinez, matriora por un descansar. At selu man pinitihan pagu. Undinguhan ay tayo give you me. Esto na cumplir. Adios, Glenn Martinez, matriora para descansar. Al man tiempo, Glenn Martinez concedí. E família, quem todo o equipamento, estão a cumprir. E te amo. Adios, Glenn Martinez, matriora para descansar. Ay, Glenn Martinez, si Diyos sa umagan para un descansa, we give you now. Esto na cumplir. It's a tomu. We need hilutanu. Ay, Glenn Martinez, adios, VRS. Con todo y terus na familia mo. Mga hinalan, iba infan malefano. Adios, Glenn Martinez, ano pago sa un descansar. Adios, amigo. Dios salud. Yun in VRS.
GU